The album That Gibson Boy, Even Though on RCA, and I mentioned the original artwork. It includes a wonderful drawing of sound coming out of a pair of speakers with the legend underneath, RCA Living Stereo. I remember wondering if it would catch on. Well, back in the 70s when Austin in Texas was the center of a lot of good music, Marcia Ball was one of the names tipped to the top. Well, she's in London for a very short tour that opens up the George Robey in Finsbury Park next Tuesday, a Wednesday at the Cricketers in Kennington, and Saturday week at the Town and Country in Kentish Town. And Billie Joe Spears due in August with Peterborough, and here she shares a song with Bobby Bear, He Had It All. Crash, Billie Joe and Bobby Bear with a song from the special BBC session they did for us. Now, more letters this week asking about the BBC's recording of the Johnson Mountain Boys concert in Leeds. It was done for Andy Kershaw's programme on Radio 1, and I understand he'll be putting out about 20 minutes of it. My producer is looking into the possibility of using some of it, and we'll let you know when, although it won't be this month or next, as it isn't even mixed down yet. For you BG fans here at the Bluegrass Cardinals, home is where the heart is. Place there for the hillside, as I'm surprised to see. Now, a note from David Griggs of Stamford, I hope in Essex, tells me he's getting engaged on Sunday to Leslie Ann Saunders of Ashton Keynes in Wiltshire. Living 140 miles apart is tough, but they always listen to Country Club. So here's Judy Rodman for you. I hope you both have lovely birthdays at the weekend as well. That was the title track, My Baby's Gone, from Ira and Charlie Lubin's album, just re-released on Stetson Records. I say just, but in fact we've had about 150 albums lined up for review, which we've been ploughing through since Easter. Well, last week, through a complete oversight, I didn't draw a couple of letters from our battered old Stetson. Each week we give away a couple of really nice Country Club pens. While the Lubins were singing their hearts out, I drew out letters by Bernard and Joyce Lee of Guildford, and Roy, or is it Ray Pettifer of Palmer's Green. Pens will be on your way in the morning. Miss Tanya Tucker.
Hello.
Hello. You know, I started doing country music programs with records about 1972. I've been doing live things before that, but it coincided with the start of your career, and I think probably your records are the bedrock. You know, whenever you think of classics, you go back to Blood Red and Going Down, Delta Dawn, Would You Lay With Me in a Field of Stone, San Antonio Strawberry. For a young lady, you've had some enormous records, haven't you? Classic records.
I've been very blessed. Of course, I got started in 1972 with my very first record, Delta Dawn. And we had so many wonderful, wonderful records after that. What's Your Mama's Name? And Would You Lay With Me in a Field of Stone? I think those records are, I never tire of singing them. They're always new to me.
How did you get them? Because that's always the Mo Bandy was just here saying, you know, how he searched for 6 months for a good song.
Well, it's very true. It gets more difficult all the time. But I've been very blessed. My producer at that time was Billy Sherrill, and he was very good at finding material. Of course, I was too young at the time to go out in the streets and look for songs, but he was very instrumental in helping me choose the material.
How do you think he managed? Because he was not only recording you, he was recording Tammy, wasn't he? I think
Tammy and Jones and
people like that.
Mandrell.
So every month he must have been looking for dozens of good songs.
I don't know. You'd probably have to ask him that question, but
I mean, those
we
songs,
have a very, very special relationship.
Those songs that came along, like What's Your Mama's Name, was that one written for you because it sounds so much as if...
No, actually, George Jones cut that song first, and I heard it and fell in love with it, so we decided to record it and release it as a single. Blood Red and Going Down was also a super song. It wasn't written for me, but I think the idea that Billy Sherrill had in mind was that since my voice was so mature for my age, that instead of putting out a song that might be for someone 13 years old, as opposed to putting out a song about a 41-year-old woman, you know, Delta Dawn, and he didn't want anybody to know that I was 13 because he didn't want to make me a freak or anything like that.
13's you know, unlucky anything.
But, yeah, 13's very lucky for me. But I think he wanted people to accept me as a singer and accept the song as a great song, as opposed to being an oddity.
Yeah, there was also that Would You Lay With Me in a Field of Stone, which everybody got kind of uptight about. Yeah, I thought
they got a little uptight. But when you realize that David Allan Coe wrote the song as wedding vows for a very special wedding, I think that it takes a whole different light on the song. And a lot of people didn't know that at the time. And it was banned on several radio stations in the country. But it went #1 anyway. And it's been one of my biggest records and one of my most favorites also.
You had that cameo part in Jeremiah Johnson with Bob Redford.
Yes, that's a funny story. I was 11 years old, living in St. George, Utah, and we were still trying to get started. My dad had taken a job in Utah, kind of in between trying to get me started.
Pretty cold.
Yes, it wasn't at that time of year, but Robert Redford came to town with the movie company, and all my girlfriends in school were renting their horses out. And I said, well, I'm not renting my horse. Nobody rides my horse but me. So I wasn't going to rent my horse, but I said, I'd like to be in the movie. And the guy, I went down there and I met the producer. I don't know how I got in. These stories kind of amaze me at times. But he says, no, we don't have any parts for you. So we went back and I kept hounding him. Finally, one morning, they showed up on my doorstep and they said, Tanya, are you Tanya Tucker? And I said, yes. They said, well, show up at makeup at 5:30 in the morning. And so I did a little small, not even a speaking part, but it was so wonderful to be so close to the camera and so close to Robert Redford that I was having a great time.
You were in show business then, weren't you?
Oh, I thought surely I would get discovered.
A couple of things. I had the pleasure of meeting your sister back in the 70s, La Costa.
Yeah.
We haven't heard from her at all for some time. Is she married or settled down or something?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, because she thinks nobody ever asks about her. I keep telling her that's not true. She is married. She's married, of course. She's been married for 11, 12 years, and she just had their second child a couple years ago. Her name is Callie and Zachary. And she has 2 beautiful children. But now she's ready to start up again.
Oh, really? In Nashville, is she living?
No, she's in Phoenix, Arizona, but she comes quite frequently to visit me in Nashville. And I'm going to get involved with her career as soon as everything calms down in mine a little bit, where I can have a little time, because I think it would be great for my sister and I to cut a duet album together.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah, good idea. And one final question.
Watch out, mandrills.
Why did you leave it so long?
Do what?
Why did you leave it so long to come and see us?
Oh, to come see you?
Yeah, to come here to Britain.
I don't know. I've always wanted to come.
You didn't know we were here, did you? You didn't know we were here.
I always wanted to come. I came over I was 17. I had my 17th birthday over here.
Did you?
Yes, and it was just for promotion, I guess, because I just signed with MCA Records. And I had a wonderful time. I wanted to come back so bad, and I've been wanting to for so long. And I have a couple of days off after tonight, so I really would like to see some of the beautiful, beautiful sights.
One of the volunteers from this audience here?
I'd love it.
Well, have a couple
of hundred tour guides would be great.
Have a good time while you're here, and thank you for joining us. Tanya Tucker.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, a young lady with a lot of hits to her credit, and she was a real charmer to meet and seemed to enjoy every minute with the fans and on stage at the Silk Cup Festival last Easter, Tanya Tucker. Now, Bernard and Joyce Lee dropped a line from Guildford. They said, while a few weeks back you mentioned would be broadcasting the whole of Boxcar Willie's set at Wembley, can you tell us, please, if this will include the 2 songs that the young boy performed on the stage with us? I know it caused a bit of a stir afterwards. Well, that was young Neil, and yes, he'll be in the show, and it's next week here on the club. Well, now let's meet some homegrown talent from the West Country, old friend Kelvin Henderson. His song, All Those Who Live and Work at the Netherton Hospital at Coulsdon in Surrey. And good luck with your fate this coming Sunday. I hope the sun shines on you. And a Trask, who we haven't heard in some time now, I fall to pieces. And thanks tonight to Tanya Tucker, George IV and the Fifth for their time at the Silk Cup Festival. Don't forget Boxcar Willie and young Neil Cordery next week in concert. Colin Chandler produced. I'm Wally White, and from all the Country Club team, good night. And join us next Thursday, 7 o'clock. Don't forget now.
Some odd days ago, and no man died in Memphis. Just another wayward soul County had to claim.
Well, sorry to interrupt your concert enjoyment, but we have an urgent message for drivers using the A46 in Nottinghamshire, and for those on the M5 near Worcester. Because of an overturned tanker, the A46 is blocked near East Bridgeford on the Newark-on-Trent road. Diversions are being set up, but these will mean very long delays for the next few hours. That's the A46 near East Bridgeford. Some good news, though, for drivers on the M5. The road there is open following the earlier accident south of Worcester. That's between junctions 7 and 8. And traffic flow will soon be back to normal. And now we're back to the music.
A man